the
Justice Kagan.
is the premise of your answers to Justice Barrett that this court has no power to establish rules intended to safeguard the integrity of the judiciary?
That is not our position, but the rules need to be lodged, I think, in some source of law. There's no congressional source of law. There's no really constitutional source of law, given that there is not a constitutional right to appeal. So I don't think it makes sense to say—
No, I mean, that was my question. In other words, you're saying that we have to point to a statute, we have to point to a particular constitutional provision to set some boundary lines on what judges can do in a task that is supremely a judicial one.
I think
that we can't just say, you know, there are some things that judges can do that would be a miscarriage of justice, and we don't need to point to a statute to be able to create a rule that polices the judiciary to that extent.
I think particularly because we are in the world of federal criminal law and federal criminal procedure, which is highly regulated by Congress and the Rules Committee, that's an especially a dangerous place for this court to be making policymaking, even though I understand that it's policymaking about what judges should do. It's policymaking about which court should be the last word on certain types of cases, and I think that really is the province of Congress and the Rules Committee. If you disagree with me and you are going down the road of a miscarriage of justice exception, again, we strongly urge the court to cabinet to the circumstances that really
Well, whatever
give
the miscarriage
pause.
of justice exception says, whether it's less cabined, whether it's more cabined, you're saying that the only way that we can do that is by referring to contract law principles or by finding, which I don't think exists because people would have found it, some statute that allows us to do that.
Or constitutional principles, or I think you're maybe gesturing towards something to do with the supervisory powers of the courts or something like that. But this isn't really a good home for the supervisory powers because this isn't about supervising the conduct in their courtroom. This is really about making rules about when when a decision should be final, whether that's at the district court stage or the Court of Appeals stage. That's kind of bread and butter federal criminal procedure stuff that Congress deals with and the Rules Committee deals with.
Thank you, counsel.